Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here. Grateful recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day, my friends. Guys, how was everybody today? Please subscribe, give the video a like, leave me a comment, and by all means, share it with anybody that might get something out of it. Today, we're going to talk about spirituality, like we do so often lately, guys. More specifically, spiritual illness. Okay, for me, spiritual illness was something I'd never identified, but it was a big part of why I was so far out of alignment. Why I was living a life that didn't that wasn't going well because I wasn't in alignment with who I am, right? And so the thing it is, when I identified that by when I started to pray, meditation, and building a relationship with my higher power, amazingly everything else in my life fell into place. And it obviously goes hand in hand with dropping the drugs, because clearly my drug abuse was a symptom of my spiritual illness. So that was number one. I had to get rid of my addiction. I had to beat my addiction, and of course it's going to be an ongoing thing. I'm going to be in recovery for hopefully the rest of my life, right? And I don't go backwards, and I have no intention of doing that because I love my life today, guys. Today being Friday, I went to my AA home group. And I love that group, guys. It's so refreshing. It's so recharging. So if you're like myself, if you have found problems finding a group that you enjoy, continue searching, right? You got to keep trying, guys. Because once you find a good home group that you identify with, that you enjoy, there's nothing better. I mean, I literally have 20 new friends. And so many more I meet constantly that either I can help or they help me. We lift each other up. We have similar issues that we're facing and similar strategies for overcoming things. And sometimes they know something I don't yet, and vice versa, right? And it just goes, it works out real good. It just ends up being a really refreshing time. I feel great every time I go, and I really look forward to my Fridays. And I'll pop in anytime during the week that I can, but I make sure I don't miss a Friday. So that being said, by all means, guys, find a group. But so oftentimes we don't understand that what's going on in our lives is spiritual sickness. And I know, at least for me, I didn't. I thought I was an addict, I was a loser, I was dealt a bad hand in life, and it was all that inner monologue that I had to change. And as I've done so, I realized that, I'm one of the very lucky ones. I understood that the spiritual cure was the cure that I needed. And it's been, fantastic for me, guys. Forgive me, I'm still learning to talk with my teeth. They have to get readjusted. The bases are too big, so as I talk, they dislodge, and I gotta keep trying. So please just bear with me. I'll get better and better as time goes on. But that's why I do this, to show you guys that don't be ashamed of making progress in your life. I was so excited when I walked into my group today, and people saw from 20 feet away, like, "Wow, you look great." It's a big difference. My face looks better. My face looks fuller. And I feel much better. I can actually eat, and and it's going to get better and better as I fit them properly. But I'm getting off topic again. So, oftentimes, guys, we will overlook a spiritual illness by the fact that we're able to put material success together, put financial success together, or even straight up intelligence. We'll try and argue our way past the need for spirituality. But all the money in the world, you can still be miserable, right? I mean, all the material crap in the world isn't going to make you happy if you're not spiritually fulfilled. So try the spiritual cure. What do you have to lose, right? Honestly. And again, it doesn't have to look like my path. Your path will look like yours. Find your relationship with your higher power. Call them what you will. But lean into it. Because literally, it's about making you the best version of you that's ever walked. The better you make yourself for yourself. It's not for anybody else. Now, the thing is, guys, when you do the work for yourself, when you do the internal work, it suddenly makes everything else in the world magnify to you. It makes you a magnet for beautiful experiences and good opportunities. But you do this because you want to be able to sit with yourself. If you're constantly chasing something external to you to try and make you happy, you're never going to be happy, because it's always going to be that next thing, that next thing, that next thing. I know I've been there, and it never worked. Today, I fill my cup from within. I pray, I meditate, I go out and I be of service in my community. I'm building a life. I work on my business. But I find things that matter to me that aren't material. And then, the material, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking material things. Everybody deserves to have good things. But when you do the work from the opposite way, when you work on yourself first, those things all fall into place. Like, I could go out and do anything I want right now because I haven't been chasing that. I've been chasing my spiritual wellness, my recovery, my sobriety, and building my business and building my foundation. And without even paying attention, I've suddenly built this little success. I'm not there yet, but I'm well on my way. I built a great foundation, and things are getting better and better constantly. I'm finding, without having to kill myself, without having to chase things so hard, things, good opportunities and good situations are being magnetized, are being pulled into my aura, and it's because I'm working on myself. I'm working on healing myself, and that's great. Again, when you're trying to mask a spiritual illness with material or intellect medicine, it's not going to work. But you'll think you're masking it because, again, you can give the outward appearance of success and think you have, you have it all, but only you know at the end of the day if you're truly happy with yourself. And if you're not, why not try, right? What do you have to lose? Only good things can come of it. For me, I've grown, and particularly for me, things only got worse, right? I would go out and get a good job, or I would try and, mask this drug for that drug. I would try to, even in the past when I got clean, I never changed. I never grew spiritually. So, therefore, I always ended up back at the same place. And again, if you want to progress in life and you want to go forward, particularly coming out of addiction, and I gear these towards other addicts, and I'm trying to help other addicts, you want to grow and you want to get in the fast track to leaving your old life behind. You got to do the work. First of all, you got to cut out the negativity. You got to cut out the drugs. You got to cut out the drug dealers, the people that are still using. And I know how hard that can be. Oftentimes, our friends and families are using alongside us. You don't have to leave them forever, but you know what? You stepping forward and stepping up and getting clean might be the catalyst to get them to put down the drugs when they start seeing you. That's why it's so important to do the work for yourself, because living by example, you never know how you might sway somebody else. I've seen it in my own life. The few people I hung around with and getting high, are still getting high and have nothing to do with me, but I've seen other people want to, start making differences. I've seen a few people actually go to the hospital and get clean. And I know that I've inspired that, and that feels great. I can't ask more than that. Again, I'm all over the place, guys. This is really distracting trying to, concentrate with my mouth, trying to talk right while the lower plate is moving around until I get it implanted, and it's going to be a little bit of an issue. I think as a matter of fact, I got to go in and have it adjusted because it's got to be cut down some more. Anyway, so, yeah. Give me a second here, all right? Okay. So, as I said, I took time out, I went into hermit mode, and I started to pray, and I found my relationship with my higher power. And that is the most important thing, because that has been my guiding light through my recovery. And by allowing that to be my guiding light, I haven't had to chase the opportunities or the next step. They've been presented to me, and it'll oftentimes happen for you when you're working it that way. And the beauty of that is, it saves a lot of mistakes when you can sit back and know spiritually that the good things are being pulled into you. You can sit there and wait for the right opportunities, and then you act on it. And the only thing I had to focus on, guys, is just being the best version of me. Look at the opportunities and situations that presented them to me, and then focus on them. Do not react, but respond after I digested and I thought about it and say, okay, well, am I hurting anybody? Am I hurting me? Is this is this moving me forward? Or am I doing this to move somebody else forward? And any of those are perfectly good answers as long as you understand the situation. And then you fill yourself up first, and then help others as you have excess and as you're working on yourself. And obviously, my life has been getting better and better by the day. I look at the progress that I'm making, and I'm overwhelmingly enthused, right? It's absolutely beautiful. I'm making, fantastic new relationships, new experiences. I'm being able to handle more and more in my life because I'm growing and progressing constantly as I go. Making, mental health progress, physical health progress. I have a smile. I can smile again. And again, this is still a work in progress. I'm having issues with it right now. It's loosening up as I'm trying to continue to talk. So I'm going to cut it short a little bit. I got to text my doctor and let him know that this is something we can do because I can't really work like this, I might have to go in and see if I can get me come in for an early adjustment instead of having to wait till next week, because the more I talk, the more it moves around. And clearly that's a problem. But again, I share that with you guys because you understand not everything's going to be perfect, and you can't let it frustrate you. And I'm not going to let it hold me back. I'm still going to get on here and make videos. Maybe it's a good thing. It's probably getting me to talk a little bit slower, and it's probably easier for you because I know I tend to talk pretty quick. Guys, always remember, when you do the work, good things will come of it. Everything that seems bad, there's a lesson in it. And if you learn the lesson, you can then apply it and not have it repeat. And things will have a tendency of repeating themselves until you learn the lesson that you need to learn. And every one of us is going to be different because we have different experiences, different past lives, different whatever, however you choose to look at it. I'm still deciding what I believe and what I don't. But I'm keeping an open mind and understanding that there's way more out there than I know. So I give everything an opportunity, right? And I lean into it. And so far, the things I'm leaning into are making perfect sense and they're working really well in my life. So just keep an open mind. Understand it's never too late to start doing something good for yourself. Always be willing to work on yourself. Always be willing to help somebody else along the way. Pay attention to the signs and synchronicities around you. Look at the opportunities and see how they align. And don't be afraid to say no, because as you're removing limiting beliefs, you'll get opportunities that are not for your highest good to see if you're really paying attention. And if you put all your eggs in one basket, you might miss the big one by having too much focus on something that's only a little bit better, if that makes any sense. I hope it does. Guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Always remember, guys, God loves you. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. I truly, truly appreciate each and every one of you. Have a blessed, beautiful day. We will see you tomorrow.